advance parole application may be approved, but that does not mean you should travel. Let's talk. Hi there, my name is Attorney Rhoda Adjman from Pong, immigration attorney at Bethel Law. And if you have applied for or are currently waiting for your advance parole documents, this video is for you. Now, advance parole is basically a travel permission for certain immigrants who have pending applications before USCIS. It allows them to travel overseas without abandoning the application. This is how it works. Let's say an individual came to the United States over 15 years ago, and now they have filed for an adjustment of status application based on a pending petition by a spouse. Advance parole allows them to travel outside of the United States for a brief period of time without abandoning their green card application. It also can be used by certain individuals who enter the United States without inspection. It allows them to travel abroad and to return through a lawful port of entry. If they are paroled back into the United States, that parole can satisfy the requirements, thereby making them eligible generally for adjustment of status. So here's another example. A person comes to the United States through the Canadian or Mexican border without inspection. They stay here in the United States and eventually file for either DACA or TPS. If the DACA or TPS is approved, they then are able to file for advance parole. With that advance parole, they can leave the United States. Upon their return, if they are paroled into the United States, they then become eligible to apply for a green card. So although they entered the United States initially without inspection and were originally not eligible for adjustment of status, applying for, receiving, leaving the United States, and entering under advance parole now makes them eligible for adjustment of status. Well, on August 13th, the Board of Immigration Appeals changed how the law treats advance parole. For years, we've depended on the rule that traveling on advance parole did not qualify as the kind of departure that would trigger a 3 or 10-year bar. Let me break that down. If you're in the United States for more than 6 months, but less than 1 year without documentation, and then depart the United States, you may trigger the 3-year unlawful presence bar, which means you cannot return to the United States for at least 3 years unless you qualify for a waiver. Now, if you're in the United States without documentation for at least 1 year and then depart the United States, you are likely to be subject to the 10-year unlawful presence bar, which means for at least 10 years, unless you qualify for a waiver, you may not be able to return to the United States. Now, before August 13th, individuals who were subjected either to the 3 or 10-year unlawful presence bar could leave the United States and return without issue if they applied for and received an advance parole document. However, after this BIA ruling, that is no longer the case. The BIA has held that departing the United States on advance parole does count as departure for the purposes of the 3 or 10-year bar, meaning that even though you applied for and received an approved advance parole document, if you accrued unlawful presence, meaning that you were in the United States at any point without documentation for more than 180 days, 6 months, but less than 1 year, and you travel on advance parole, you may be barred for up to 3 years. Likewise, if you were in the United States for more than 1 year without documentation, although you applied for and received advance parole, departing the United States on that advance parole document could mean you're barred for up to 10 years after your departure. Now, this does not mean that advance parole no longer exists or that individuals who may otherwise qualify for it can no longer travel on advance parole. What it means is that before you purchase a flight ticket, you want to review your immigration history. Now remember, an advance parole document is permission to travel and to seek parole when you return. It does not mean that travel is legally safe for you, and it certainly does not guarantee that you will be allowed to enter the United States upon your return. If you have any thoughts or any questions, let me know in the comments. And as always, if you or loved one need any assistance, give my office a call. That's all.